Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. You can follow me on socials at MLUpod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's June on the show. You know what that means. It's midterms time. That's right. I got my red pen out to talk about some of my favorite music that came out this year so far. We're at the halfway point of the year. I love doing this, and 6 months later, December, we got the finals where I do a summation of all of my favorite tunes that came out during the entire year. But right now, part one is this week. We're going to talk about 5 great singles that I loved and 5 great EPs that I loved. And next week, me and Connor, round 2, we're going to talk about full-length albums. That should be a good time. Our red pen is going to be scribbling all over the place, talking about the great tunes that came out in this busy music year of 2022. I feel like I say that every year, but this year is particularly busy. Culminating my list, albums, singles, EPs, has been very difficult, which I love, which means that there were tons of great music, singular, to discuss. And right now, we're going to start off with some EPs that I've been digging this year. Going all the way down to Florida with Buster Wolf, Loops 3. This thing is a quick burst of soulful beats, really quick. This entire project is probably under 20 minutes. It's phenomenal, though. It packs a massive punch in its very brief, short runtime. Highly replayable, too. You can listen to this walking to your grocery store. You'll be halfway done by the time you get by the time you get to the cash register at the grocery store. You'll be halfway done with this thing, and then when you get home, you're probably starting it all over again. It's really good. It sounds like a DJ mix, but there's a ton of sonic variety. It doesn't sound like one song. It sounds like it's a bunch of different songs with different styles being blended together perfectly, if that makes any sense. My favorite songs on here are Washi and Forma Bohemia, both very brief. Most of the songs on here are under a minute, but a lot is happening in these very short and brief songs. So definitely give Buster Wolf, Loops 3, a full, thorough listen, because it won't take you that long. Moving on to Dotti, Los Angeles. They just put out a brand new EP, Guided Imagery. They were on My Little Underground as well as Buster Wolf to talk this thing up. This time around, 2 years later, following up their first EP, Dotti has a lot more brighter melodies, I feel. A lot of catchy guitar, noisy riffs, just like Dotti usually does very, very well, but this time they're just kind of cranking that up and steering into that direction. A lot more noise, a lot more expanded riffs that are so catchy, unbelievably catchy. A lot of this EP, to me, sounds like a jam session that they just happened to make songs out of. Let me give you an example. Like Hurting Slowly, the way it blends into Come On Music. It sounds like they were just practicing one day, and a practice became an EP. And when I listen to this thing on cassette, I think Dotti's a great cassette band. Everything sounds like just like Buster Wolf and Giant Mix. But in Dotti's case, a jam session, a rehearsal session, in the best way possible. Give Dotti a listen. I love like noisy jangle pop, and Dotti is that and then some. And I love them fondly. I just hope I get to see them live, either in LA, because I've always wanted to go to LA, or hopefully they come to New York City. But I need to see Dotti live. Moving on to Homeboy Sandman. He's continuing his prolific release pattern with different projects produced by different producers. And this year, in 2022, he has There in Spirit, an EP produced by Illingsworth. And 2018, he put out an album with Edan, 2019, he did an album with Mono and Stereo. 2020, he did an album with Quelly Chris. In 2021, he did an EP with his Lice tag team partner Aesop Rock. And here we are, 2022. He's working with Illingsworth. And these two sound amazing together. Sandman sounds fantastic on these beats. And like a lot of Homeboy Sandman music, and this time around, he talks a lot about living in the present and maintaining curiosity. All things that represent me. Homeboy Sandman is definitely speaking to me. Love hearing music, especially rap music, that literally speaks to me. And you can be like Aesop Rock and be as ambiguous as but Homeboy Sandman, sometimes he's very to the point, and the points that he's making speaks to me a good part of the time. And my favorite songs off of this Homeboy Sandman, their Inspired EP, Stand Up and Something Fly. Going to Canada, Bernice, Buongiorno My Friends. And this is a remix EP of their 2021 album, O de Buongiorno. Really love the danceable remix to Personal Bubble by Sam Gendel. And my favorite, as of right now, is Big Mado, remix by Cowbells. What I love about this is that Cowbells does a little outro on this song, almost like a radio DJ talk break, basically back selling for all you radio people out there what we just heard. They're describing what we just heard and what's happening. And it's almost like a promo for the original album. Cowbells tells us to go check out the original album, O de Buongiorno, which is great. I highly recommend it. And a lot of these remixes are almost, if you listen to Bernice, right, especially O de Buongiorno, a lot of the songs sound like they're from like outer space, you know, and this remix EP kind of brings everything down to earth, makes it danceable, a little bit more accessible, but it still sounds like Bernice, if that makes sense. Highly recommend this remix EP. It's very entertaining, and the remixes are all phenomenal. The last EP on the list is another sort of remix EP. It's Spoon Wild EP, and this is a collection of remixes of Wild from their latest album, Lucifer on the Sofa. I guess it's a maxi single, if that makes sense. So there's the original Spoon Wild single, then there's a remix from Jack Antonoff, who I just found out co-wrote Wild, and he did his own version, which sounds very like a lot of Jeff Antonoff stuff, a lot more cleaner and a lot more accessible. My favorite version is the trashy Wild, which is very fuzzy and rough around the edges, and it sounds like Spoon. And Wild in and of itself, the original tune, is amazing. It's one of my favorite Spoon songs of late. It is so catchy. It's still in my head right now as we're speaking, and it's a wonderful song to walk to and to drive around to, like Spoon's albums usually are. Let me take a little tea break. All right, I'm back. Good tea. Need that good tea to keep my throat clear and smooth. All right, that does it for EPs. Moving on to singles. Kicking it off with Velvet Vision, Silver City, a double single by Miss Betty Taylor. And the A-side is the original titular song. It's very electronic, sugary synths, what we know from Velvet Vision, with some pretty gorgeous ethereal vocals. I love this song. It's very sweet and tender. It's almost like a soundtrack to a video game. Really, it does. I feel like playing video games every time I listen to Velvet Vision for some reason. And the B-side is a floating in orbit cover of ELO's Strange Magic. It literally sounds like you're floating in outer space listening to Betty do this song. It has the gentleness of Beach House's Common Girl. It does. It is so sweet, and it really shows off Betty's vocal prowess. Lots of reverb and lots of ethereal goodness, similar to that of Cocteau Twins. But Betty has a nice voice, and this song showcases that to the max. Love this single from Velvet Vision, and I believe it's a preview of more Velvet Vision soon to come. Looking forward to it. Next single on this list is Jumpin' from New York City DJ. It's getting a lot of buzz right now. DOS. This is a raging, bombastic house tune with some cool guest vocals from Joy Cardwell. And there's a nice, catchy spoken verse from DOS that brings the song to its most chaotic. This tune is exactly that. It is ridiculous. You think this song is going to sound one way by listening to it, but then you just get hit with this curveball that's out of whack in the best way possible. Highly recommend this song. I think DOS is doing a rooftop set at Elsewhere in Bushwick, and I believe it's sold out. I would love to be there. Hopefully I can find some third-party tickets if I'm in the mood to go. A lot of shows happening this month. Oh my goodness. I can be here all day talking about all the things that's going on. It's overwhelming in the best way. Things are, are back to normal. I feel like the amounts of shows that are going on are like 2019, 2018 levels. It's ridiculous. Okay, the next single on here is Sofia Cortez's Estación Esperanza. This is a more tender house tune, almost the opposite of DOS's Jumpin', but if you did a DJ mix, both of these tunes would sound great together. There's some sweet vocals by Sofia and Manu Chao, who is a guest on this tune. Sample vocals from a Peruvian protest against homophobia. Very fitting as it's Pride Month. This is a very, very danceable tune to me, and it has a lot of hope that, this is a lot of horrible things happening in society right now. And if you put this tune on, I think Sofia made this song for just that. If you're feeling like myself, kind of overwhelmed with everything going on in the world, if you put this song on, you will feel at ease. I'm telling you. Fourth single on this list, Kelly Moonstone, Just Another Day. I know what you're thinking. Who the hell is Kelly Moonstone? This is the artist formerly known as the Aphrodite. And she's a phenomenal New York singer, rapper, does both things very, very well. And this new single from her reinvention shows off her vocal chops more than her rapping chops. Lots of lovely, sweet harmonies over some soulful instrumentation. And if you're familiar with Kelly's work as the Aphrodite, this is what she does well. Raps and sings very well over very soulful Soulquarians style of music. Loves Erykah Badu and all that good stuff. D'Angelo, etc. Got some guest bars on here from Mavi. And overall, this is a motivational tune for black folks trying to make it through the day when it's not always easy. To me, this is my perception of it and how I feel right now. And I'm a huge fan of Kelly Moonstone. I got to see her live a couple of years back. She's been doing a lot of shows recently, but I've been too tired to get out to them. And usually she's on these bills with so many people. And man, I don't like shows when there's so many people on them. Really, I really do. Like A Place Very Strangers is playing a show soon. As I'm recording it, they're playing this coming Monday, June 6th. A lot of bands on that bill. Not a lot, but like, I don't like bills with more than like 2 or 3 bands. I'm still gonna go see you. I'll check you out if I really believe in you. But please, just stick to 1 or 2. Maybe I'm just lazy or I'm just exhausted by everything in the world. Just 2 to 3 bands. I get tired. I'm a wrestling fan, and I was watching the recent. I don't want to make this is not the Wrestling Caucus, but I was watching AEW, All Elite Wrestling's recent pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. It was a 4.5-hour show. I was so damn tired. It was a good show, but it was so long. So concerts, please. Concise, consolidates, 2 to 3 acts. That's it. Anyway, Kelly Moonstone, Just Another Day. It's a great tune. Listen to it. There's a lot more to come from Kelly Moonstone this year. I'm looking forward to it, but this song is amazing. Last, but certainly not least, Mr. Kendrick Lamar. Right before he dropped his recent album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. He put out this single, The Heart Part 5. And this tune is very powerful. It's fantastic. And he's speaking conceptually from the perspective of highly regarded black figures. And if you watch the video, this concept is kind of like brought into the forefront. In the video, his face takes the shape and the form of Kanye, Kobe Bryant, Will Smith, and Nipsey Hussle. And when I listened to the song before I saw the video, I'm thinking he's talking about himself. But it's very, well, that's my interpretation. I guess a lot of Kendrick's music is very subject to interpretation. But I guess he's talking about himself and to black people as a whole, and kind of loosely commenting on the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation at the Oscars. But it's a very interesting song. It makes you think, like a lot of Kendrick Lamar's tunes often does. And especially when I found out that, he was essentially talking as Nipsey Hussle from Beyond. Very chilling, but kind of profound. And Lauren London, who was the partner of Nipsey Hussle, gave her thumbs up and her approval of Kendrick Lamar's kind of Nipsey Hussle reimagination, if that's the right way to say that. But The Heart Part 5 is great. I honestly like it more than Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I thought it was the first single to it. I know usually the Heart songs are separate from the album that Kendrick will eventually drop. But, it's a great song, and yeah, definitely worth listening to musically and conceptually. And that's going to do it for part 1 of the 2022 midterms here on My Little Underground. And listen to the show however you get your podcasts. And if you already do that, keep listening wherever you listen to. And next week, we're going to talk about albums with my good friend Connor Rooney. And once again, I'm Peter A. Follow me on the socials at MLUpod. And you could follow me, Peter A., also on the socials, Twitter and Instagram. It's Peter_A. Okay, keep listening to tons more music. Keep discovering tons more music. And come back next week for more discussions of great music that came out this year. All right, later days.